Whilst I'm out at car boot sales, I like to look for things like this that I have absolutely no idea what they were used for. This thing here, haven't a clue. I had quite a few people guessing what it might be, like a sparker, shall we say. You need a little flint in here that creates a spark for oxyacetylene or whatever. And this rather large lump of a thing right here. And this is the subject of today's video. This thing cost me £1, and as you can see, it's been made from a rasp, an old rasp, most probably by a blacksmith, I would imagine. And it's absolutely huge and quite heavy too. How long is it? It measures in 11.5 inches. And we have this rather unusual head going on here. So this is almost the right size for the file. As you can see, it's still got the teeth on the edges here and a few of the teeth left in here. So that's the original size of the file itself. And we have the handle too. So what was it made for? During a recent visit to the car boot sale, I came across these two tools right here, and I thought, oh, they look familiar somehow. I'll have to get them. We have this one here, which is by Marples and Sons, I do believe. Quite large. And this little fellow is by Timmins, for obviously a lot smaller, whatever it works with. Well, I did some research, and it turns out these are sawsets. So what somebody's done with this is they've made themselves a massive, great big sawset out of an old rasp. I have here two saws that were owned by my late father. This one here, as you can see, has some fairly largish teeth going on in here, look. Okay. And the other one, the teeth are very much finer. But this particular saw also has a bit of a story to tell. It's got a big chunk out of it just here. So what happened there? Well, the story my father told me was back in the 50s. He was working in this house and was cutting upwards through some joists in the ceiling somewhere. And the saw accidentally cut into a live mains wiring. And of course, as you can see, that's what happened. So father was almost electrocuted during his job, but luckily the wooden handle, it was insulated, so he managed to survive that, but it didn't do his saw a lot of good. So hopefully you can see the teeth on this saw are offset. One tooth is offset this way, and the other one is over this side. There we go, that's a much better image for you to take a look at. As you can see, one is kicked off this side and the other's kicked off the other side, look. And that is to, so it cuts a little channel in the wood so that the rest of the blade doesn't get stuck. This here is the type of sawset that my late father would have used to adjust the teeth on his saws. And we can just about see how it works here. This bit here, you turn it round, you loosen this off, and we can spin it round. Hopefully, spin it round to this end of the tool here, like so. Lock it off. We can see there's a little pin that comes up when you there we go. So this little pin will come up and push the tooth over. So you do half the teeth one way, then we turn the saw around or over and push the other teeth the opposite direction. And these things are just another method again. We simply drop the teeth into these slots like so, and then we would whichever size we require, maybe this size here, and then what we would do is we would then twist it over like so and push the tooth the way you want it to go. And you work down the blade every other tooth over that side like so, and then we would start again, but then we do the other tooth that away like this. So one tooth is bent that away, every other tooth that way, and then the tooth we missed out before is bent that away. So if this saw set is used on teeth of this size, what on earth size of saw blade were these two used on? I mean, these are enormous. Look, compared with the little Timmins, well, I can only assume they were used on teeth something like this. Massive, great, big, humongous teeth, so it must have been a fairly hefty old saw that these tools were used for. So I'd imagine that whoever made this maybe couldn't afford to buy one of these, so he came up with the idea, I'll make one myself out of an old rasp, this old rasp that I don't use anymore. Or he had a customer that the blacksmith had a customer that couldn't afford one of these, so he made him one out of an old rasp, maybe that the guy had himself, and he brought in, so the blacksmith only had to make it like this for the customer at a greatly reduced cost than the customer having to buy one of these little fellows. As you can see, these teeth are relatively straight, and if you tried cutting wood with this blade, what would happen was once it got down to about here somewhere, the saw would start to bind and you'd have a job pushing it through the wood again. So what we'll have to do is adjust these teeth to get them to cut properly. Okay, let's see if we can have a go at bending these teeth then, shall we? Get the old Sawset in, pop it on the tooth, bend it, and then we miss one out, bend it, miss one out, bend it, miss one out, bend it, and so on down the length of the saw blade. After which we then pick on the blades, the teeth we didn't bend before. I mean, being cardboard, this is not going to do a very good job at all, but you can get the you can see where I'm going with this. Right, there we go. Okay, now we have a set on this blade now. Right, let's take a look at the set blade. And there we go. That's what we want. And now it can cut through the wood without the blade binding here. Okay, so that's one mystery solved then. This is a Sawset, most likely made by a blacksmith for a customer, whomever it was back in the day, because they possibly couldn't afford to go out and buy one of these, and they may very well have had a blunt rasp that they couldn't use anymore, so they took it along to the blacksmith, who said, yep, I can do that for you, and this is the end result. How interesting. A kind of a homemade saw set, and as I say, for quite a massive saw blade too, by the looks of things. Okay, so that's one mystery tool solved. So all we've got to do now is find out what the other tool I had, picked up on the same day, was used for. As I say, I've had quite a few suggestions. If you've got any ideas what you think this might have been used for, one of the guys at work seems to think it was for filing rabbit's teeth. There's also suggestions there could have been a flint in here, which would have created a spark for oxyacetylene or whatever. I've no idea, to be honest with you guys. I can't get a flint to go in there, so I'd imagine it's obviously some kind of specific flint if it was a flint. But if you've got any ideas what this here is, please let me know down in the comments. Alrighty then, so we know now what this is. Great stuff, found that one out at last. This one cost me £1 at the car boot sale a few weeks back. I'm not sure how much these two cost me now, maybe £2 or £3, I don't know. But I say this one's by Marples and Sons. I don't know how far back it goes or what the age of the thing is. And this one's made by Timmins. Is it Timmins and Sons possibly? Yeah, Timmins and Sons. Again, I've no idea the vintage of either of these two. Nor this thing here. I don't know how old this thing here could be. It could be like, I don't know, 1800s, late 1800s possibly. I don't know. I'll never know. And I'll never know who made it either, or for whom. But yeah, that's one mystery solved right there. Okay then guys, well thanks for popping over. Thanks for taking a look at the mystery tool. We've all found out exactly what it was used for now. And I do hope you'll pop by again. I wasn't able to go to the boot sale today because of heavy rain. It's been cancelled, unfortunately, but I'm hoping to get out next Sunday and see if I can find some more interesting and unusual tools like this one here. But yeah, alright then guys, well thanks for popping over and thanks for watching.
Ruff, ruff.